Welcome back. Yet another discussion here, and let's bring it home, at least for me. Now, for over 2 decades, the Ndokwa region of Delta State has remained in near total darkness, and I mean this literally. No steady power, no grid connection, no meaningful development in sight. But this week, or rather last week, the silence was broken. On Monday, hundreds of Ndokwa youths took to the streets in Kwale to demand the restoration of electricity after 25 long years of blackout. Brandishing placards and chanting peacefully, the protesters blocked key access routes, including the Asaba-Kwale-Ozoro highway and the Asaba-Kwale road, bringing regional traffic to a standstill and national attention to the crisis long ignored. Now, reacting swiftly to the protest, the Delta State government, through Commissioner for Works and Public Information Charles Aniagwu, announced renewed efforts to light up Ndokwa Nation at a press conference in Asaba. The commissioner assured the people that the state is taking concrete steps to solve the long-standing electricity problem once and for all. However, residents say they've heard promises like this before, and what they want now is power, not platitudes. Now, let's take a look at the first report here brought by our New Central correspondent, Austine Azu, from during the week.
The protesters in large numbers at Kwale, Delta State, mounted roadblocks with burning fires at different spots on the major roads of the Asaba-Kwale-Ozoro highway and the Asaba-Kwale road to draw attention to the lack of electricity in the area. The protest led to significant disruption in vehicular movement, bringing it to a standstill, leaving passengers stranded. The situation was being monitored by security forces, who eventually began firing tear gas to dislodge the protesters. The protesters expressed their dissatisfaction at the manner in which the situation was handled.
Totally disappointed on what is going on here. People are doing peaceful protests, but look at what is happening. They damage so many machines, so many cars, using tear gas to chase people away. I remember when this process started, it was very peaceful. But instead of government, Delta State government, I mean the governor of Delta State, to come and read this matter once for all. He refused, and to use force on the people. What did I tell you? Give my family food. Balance and take. We are one start from. We are one start from Onyema. It's a tell. We are one start from. We are one start from. Make it be those. This happen when you want it. I'm on Ndokwa. We have many companies in this town, and we don't have lights. They are eating the money. Enough is enough. We don't go green. We need lights. But we stand today to tell the deputy governor that what we need is IPP step down. Through protests, we're not disturbing anybody. The police are passing. We're just there dancing and waiting for the government to come and address us. The next thing we just saw, policemen from Asabasakus and others started shooting tear gas and gone. Peaceful protests, what they do, they carry arms and ammunition, they shoot us. See my hand. See my hand. All they have to do is to use the military men to come and oppress us here in our community without addressing us, shot almost our persons, almost few of the bike were burned, some were stabbed. What is the meaning of this? The federal government should come and intervene in this case. Niger, Republic, Kaduna, Lagos, Abuja, connect light from here. More than 25 years now, we don't have light here. And we think that we're happy. Very many people, they were injured. You know, tear gas all over. We cannot see road. Even my bike, before I got to the place where my bike is, they have already punctured my bike. The protesters have insisted that they remain at the venue of the protest until their demands are met. In Kwale, for New Central, Austine Azu.
And thanks to Austine for that report. And now to explore both the grassroots frustration and the government's latest response, we are joined by 2 guests. First, also our correspondent who brought you that report and who's covered the protest live from Kwale. And also with us is Elder Godwin Ossai. He's a seasoned administrator and chieftain of the APC in Delta State, with insight into the state's infrastructure politics and the political will needed to end this 25-year power drought. Gentlemen, many thanks for joining us. We appreciate you for coming on. I mean, Austine, we will have to keep you on hold and start with you, Elder. Elder, you have seen that report that was brought by a correspondent. So I do have to ask you your reaction to the, just the 25 years of no power. It is staggering, but most importantly, the response to the peaceful protest by the residents of Kwale.
Now, the history of... I'm saying I'm glad that you guys brought up this issue to the public. So it's no longer something that is hidden, like they would want the communities to believe that it's not real. What is happening is not real, but it's obviously clear that it is real. Now, before this protest started, it was advertised properly that it was going to be a peaceful protest to register their disenchantment with the way Ndokwa Nation has been treated over the years. The history of deprivation and oppression of the people is very, very clear for the world to see. Right from independence till this day, they have been suffering oppression, suppression, and deprivation. They couldn't help it anymore. The youth couldn't take it. And these are people that have been, the Ndokwa people have been very peaceful over the years. Even through the period of oil and gas exploration and exploitation in the place, the despoilation of their environment, they have always felt that governments and the multinationals will be responsible to address these issues. Till today, not until recently, the only visible federal government presence, for instance, in that nation is the old mud house prison yard that they had. I guess it should be the time of Mongo Park or Landa Brothers. Until recently, when they had a very rare opportunity of having the Federal University of Medicine and Medical Studies at Kwale. But before then, the issue of darkness has always been there. The IPP, which generates light to other parts of the country, at least 9 states, and Abuja, this is an open fact, does not even care about the environment from where they draw all the gas and every oil resource. They don't care about their welfare. Maybe because the people are docile, they are seen to be docile because they love peace. It happened to the Ijaw Nation until they rose. If you remember the Kayama Declaration of 1998, until they rose, they were oppressed like the Ndokwa people. So these young men now know that their future is bleak. You may even ask, don't they have leaders? Yes, what kind of leaders do they have if they do? Are they partners of the oppressors? They can't just fathom why their place is like the way it is now. Ndokwa used to be a board division. Even after the Civil War, we had before the Civil War, we had Midwest, we had Bendel, there were 12 states, there were 19 states, up till now that is 25 states. Our board division has only split to 3, manageably 3, when they should have reached 7. Because of their landmass and their population and their resources, they can be self-sustaining. But no, the powers that be will subjugate them. And so they are now faced with darkness. Darkness both symbolically and physically. Darkness means people should not hear, see, or know any evil that is being lashed onto them. Darkness means the absence of light. Light, where there is no light, light represents education, foresight, openness. Since they have been put in darkness for more than 20 years, nobody is talking about it. So you won't blame them to say, let us do a peaceful protest. Let's do a peaceful protest. Let us, if we write and talk and interview and nobody hears us, nothing will happen. So
right,
they have
Elder
to
Godwin.
give notice that they're going to protest openly and peacefully. Here you are. I saw the review you just did now, you know, that they were harmless, yet the powers that be, people in government, out of hypocrisy and political rightness, sent in the police, the forces, to bring them down. Peaceful, even the president, our current president, took part in protests.
Elder Godwin Ossai, just a second, sir. Just a second, sir. Very interesting submissions there made by you. I hope you can hear me because we're trying to get your attention here. I would like to come to our News Central correspondent, Austine Azu, who put together that report which you're referencing right now. Austine, first of all, I wanted to say at the end there, you pretty much looked like some of the protesters yourself, marching down as you were giving your call sign there. Very interesting. I loved that report. However, let's look at the issues therein. Now, I know the Ndokwa area, I know Kwale, but it's a broader problem across the Niger Delta, especially when you start to look at most parts of Ugeli, Iede, Oyode, Ole, Iri. These are parts of Delta states that have very huge oil wells. I think the Ole oil well is somewhere in there. And these facilities will generate so much for the country. However, these parts of that of the Delta are in stark darkness. When it comes to the authorities regarding the protest, security, first of all, for the way they handle the protest, has there been any response from the authorities, the security authorities, and has there been any response from the electricity authorities, the DISCO perhaps, regarding the protest and the matters that it brought forward?
First and foremost, let me take from the rear. Of course, most of our communities, especially those oil producing areas, they give out what they have to the nation, but however, they seem not to be getting much from the nation as well. That's one of the issues bedeviling those communities. Hence, the protests and individuals coming out to protest over, marginalization and abandonment and so on and so forth. So, Kwale's case, the recent protest, is just one among others. You go inside those communities, you discover that you have a lot of gas flaring, you have a lot of pollution, but you can't find any tangible things that most of these multinational oil companies has actually done for the people to alleviate their pains and so on and so forth. How can one be producing, generating power and the person does not have electricity? It's just like one who claims that he's inside the ocean, precisely inside the river, and he allows soap to enter his eyes. So it's quite a pathetic situation for the Ndokwa Nation. And it cut across different areas in Delta. Delta is oil producing states, no gainsaying the fact, and you can't equally measure the impact on most of those communities. Now, we gathered at the protests that some of their people were arrested, taken away by the security agencies. Let me allude to the fact of what Engineer Ossai just stated, that the police came at almost after hours of protesting. They came to dispatch them with tear gas, and some of their motorcycles. We saw one that was burnt, and others were just scattered, and so on and so forth. I only saw some individuals after, complaining about their vehicles being destroyed by the protesters. We saw one of the House of Assembly members, I don't want to mention names, who was on his vehicle to Asaba that very day. His vehicle was damaged, and some other individuals, even when we saw the viral video of the Commissioner for Youth who went to fight them, to talk to them, so that they will stop the protest here and then. So all these were pockets of issues that erupted from the protest. Now, the authorities have not confidently come out to speak on the aspect of the protest to alert Deltans what has really happened. But they claims that about truncating the peace of the states. We had a lot of passengers who were stranded on that very day, and people who also have gone to one or two places to go about their lawful duties. We are stranded. So I believe that's one of the reasons why the power that being in courts have to invite the police to come and dispatch the protesters. But the protesters were so, I don't know how to put it, if they were so organized, because at the end of the at the end of the day that they were dispersed from that particular junction that the police met them, they went back to the streets to demonstrate and to register their grievances that they are not going to surrender. And they actually said 7 days. And lo and behold, we went there after the 2 days protest. We didn't see anyone on the road. Probably there are ongoing discussions about what needed to be done about the ongoing prolonged blackouts in Ndokwa Nation. And just like what the Commissioner for Public Enlightenment and Rural Works said, that the state government is looking into the demands of the people of Ndokwa Nation, and equally said that the deputy governor is from Ndokwa Nation as well, and the governor of the state has directed him to mediate between the Ndokwa Nation and the holding company. And of course, you know, in Nigeria, you discover that even when you buy your transformer, for you to energize it, you have to pay the power company to come and, you know, install. So it's really a difficult situation for Ndokwa Nation if they are going to have light immediately. But the government said machinery has been put in place to ensure that they are able to resolve the prolonged blackouts in Ndokwa Nation. So we don't know if anyone is still in police custody, the protesters, or not, but I believe that as time goes by, the police should be able to tell us the aftermath of the protest if any of them are still within the police custody. But from reliable information we gathered that some of them who were arrested on that fateful day have started regaining their freedoms. So it means that some of them will start coming out. Depends on who is involved in this issue of broken peace between the security agencies and the protesters themselves. But at the moment, Kwale and Ndokwa Nation is calm. Everyone seems to be going about their lawful duty. And like what they said, this is not the first time they are protesting. They started protesting in 2005, 2010, 2015, and 2025. Hopefully, this protest will yield a positive impact that some communities in quote, it's not the entire Ndokwa Nation that is total blackout, but predominantly most of the communities are in blackout. All right. But the time will come whereby they will begin to have a sign of
I do have to quote your apologies there, but I just want to get a final remark from Elder Ossai here as we wrap up this hour. Very quickly, despite several administrations, 25 years of darkness still persists. What will be your call to the government at this time? Very quickly, because we're out of time. Elder.
Yeah, I think the next thing to do is for us to expect the government to intervene at both levels, federal and state, because these people deserve to be heard. They deserve to be heard indeed. There's no need muzzling them down. There's no need coming to be politically right by those who are in authority just to impress power. No, this is reality. It is a risk that is facing all of us. If not for the NADECO and all those struggles, we won't be having this democracy we're having today. So why don't you allow open vent for people, all parts of this country, to open their mind and say what is real, and as long as they are what they are suffering. The Ndokwa Nation has suffered enough. I think the government should intervene. There were some other lousy comments, lousy interpretations of it, giving it some other political notion that strangers are coming. There's nothing like that. Initially, they said there was not going to be, there's no protest. Ndokwa people are not protesting because they have been written off as people who are docile, timid, poor, helpless. And so they don't have people to speak for them. But the youths are coming. They need to protect their tomorrow. I think government should do something. Unfortunately, the governor was not available when all these things were happening. We understand he was out of the country. He's a listening man. The president is a listening man. These are people who I believe are compassionate. And we look at the struggle of these people. Not just Ndokwa alone. So many parts of Delta have been marginalized and left in their squalor. The Opel area suffered deprivation. The Jaws suffered deprivation. They are getting respite now. Ndokwa still remains in that quagmire. I plead with the federal government, the president, to come to see the spoliation in the place and do something about it. I plead with the present governor, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborewori, to come and see for himself. He's doing well. Let him come and make Ndokwa Nation a part of his activity. fully and visibly, because they produce oil. There are over 12 oil producing companies there. They harness all the gas and all that. We all know these facts. All the promises that the community will be lighted, nothing happened. You won't even use solar energy to iron your clothes on the solar energy, solar light in the streets. Will you use that to do anything in your house? You just go to NDDC, get a contract and put solar energy, solar lights, and you think that that is lighting up the... What about the industrial takeoff?
Elder, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us today. Your call has been, very explicit and clear. Hopefully the state government does something about it. 25 years, let them be the administration that takes charge to make a difference in the Ndokwa Nation and its environs. Austine Azu, many thanks for bringing us that report. Austine Azu, our correspondent live from Delta, and also our guest today, Elder Godwin Ossai, who is a chieftain, APC chieftain in Delta State. Once again, thank you. We're going to a short break. When we come back, we'll switch gears to Wellness Central, and we raise awareness about sickle cell. Stay with us.